Welcome to Trading Lounge and the US tech stock, starting with the NASDAQ, and in very sort of simple terms we'll be going higher, and that is because this particular move here is corrective. What I don't know, and this also relates to stocks as well, is that it's possible for this to continue to climb at this point, or we'll need to look at one more move here and then a move up at that point. That's what I don't know at this point. So in terms of trading, and this is with all the stocks, okay? So what we can do quite simply is that the move up through here, if we wait for a pullback and expose the top, so it may push up here higher. That may be the top there already. Whatever the case is, if we get some sort of deeper little pullback in here, then you'll know that we've got a top there. And in that case, then you can look to go long above that top. Otherwise, we'll need to look for the move down here, then look for the first impulse wave to the upside, and then pull back and take it on the top here for the entry, or the B wave here, or if you've got a level to work with, then a classic trading levels pattern on top of the closest largest number to work a long trade at this point. So that's really it in a nutshell. There's high to go in all stocks, except Tesla. We need to have a deeper pullback in Tesla, I think. But generally speaking, we need to go higher in all stocks. It's just that I don't know if we get this little dog leg in here first. That's the issue. So you'd need a nice clean top as an exposure so you can build a long trade on at that point. So that's where it's at, really. So let's just go in and have a look at this in a bit more detail. So with Apple here, I could view this here as wave 3 here, and then an A and a B and a C wave, and we're done and dusted from that point, and we can move up from here, right? Otherwise we'll be seeing a move down here, and then I'll need to bring this wave 3 across the top here. But we should be seeing more upside. So what we can also do here is that obviously we can go long above this top. We could find the second high here. We don't know exactly where that's going to be just yet, and we may just fall from this point here. So there's a couple of things to go on here, just not quite sort of ready to move into this one just yet. It's the same, you know, as I mentioned with the NASDAQ, it's exactly the same. So on this level here, let's just assume for a moment, let's just take it that this is the wave 3 with an A and a B and a C wave here. And it doesn't count that well, but we could view as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that doesn't fit very well for wave 1, and then 2 and 3, 4, 5. But if that is the case, then this becomes a B wave here. But let's just assume for a moment that it is going to be bullish for a moment, okay? Now, it may not be the case, but if we, prepare for it. So that would mean that this would be wave 1 here and 2 here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here for the third wave. Then we would have the 5th wave up here. It's, this is all supply area here. This is where it will pull back from. So if it was going to be some sort of ABC pattern, we would get, it may even come a bit lower than that, and then it would move up from that point. So we can put all of these into place, and if it occurs, well, then that's great. You could catch it on the B wave, or you could capture it over here on this here, and that would give you 5 waves at that point. Otherwise, it's just going to move down from here. So basically, just preparing for. Otherwise, we can see this come further down here. Now, the only other trap here that could occur is that if we're putting, if we look at this as a top over here, then we would look at wave B here, and we would look at this here in terms of the corrective pattern. So if I take it sort of to its max here, the thing here would be that in some way or another, I mean, this top here at 61.62 to 65% here, if that, you know, we could view this as an A and a B and a C for the A wave, and then a B wave, and then a C wave up here as well. So that would be the B wave at that point. So that's why going above, you know, looking at that 61.8% or a classic trading levels pattern here on 191 would get us at that point. But yeah, as I mentioned, we need to be mindful of this situation here. Okay, so yeah, unfortunately, this is much the same with most stocks. Amazon's a little bit different, but Amazon's not going to go very far from the 150. So we've been counting up here as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then going up here for 5. And I'm wondering if this is the top here, but this is a corrective pattern here, so we should take out the high. So I'll need to put that over there on that. So there's still further to move up here on this. Now, the worst situation here would probably be pulling back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree at that point. If you've been long on this little top here, then you really want to exit over here. So it wasn't an official trade or anything, it was just a suggestion. So, but yeah, you're probably out anyway before the Thanksgiving holidays anyway. But yeah, so that's where that is. So this market's not going to go far from this 150. And the first, you know, swing ranges within this, of course, is up to 53, and so 1, 2, and 3 here, and that makes it group 1 and group 2. So, you know, I mean, swing it around in here, you don't really want to be involved in any of that. We need to make sure that we've got the right setup if we're going to be going, you know, long at that point. But yeah, expect a reaction from that 150. Then we move over to NVIDIA. So with NVIDIA here, we could look at this, if I could just borrow these, we could view this here in the same way, where we look at this, I mean, the wave 4 overlaps here, but I wouldn't sort of worry too much about that with stocks at this degree of structure. So we could view this as a nice 5 waves down. Of course we could, because it's 4 is overlapping with 1, we could also view it as an A and a B and a C, and we can go straight up from here. Now, we haven't been involved in this stock around the 500 for obvious reasons, but this particular pattern here will be this pattern here. So we've had the arrival and the reaction. We're looking for the first high above the level, and then we'll have this pull back over here. So this is all of the arrival here. Now, what I don't know here is that, do we just push up for wave B here, which will be in this space here? So this is a trap. This is why it's, you know, it's not good to trade around large numbers unless you've got a good setup. You know, we could end up with something like this here. So yeah, just got to wait it out, I think, here. I mean, there's no huge announcements in Wednesday and Thursday. I think some GDP figures there somewhere on Wednesday. But yeah, so it'd be something like this here. We can have a crack at this here, but I would want this to pull back here first. I can't take the risk on, you know, this. I need more boxes tick than just one box tick, that making this an ABC here, because it's not the case. It could also be, like I mentioned, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we just need to be extra careful at this point. I don't think we're missing anything. I think the trade really now is in probably gold stocks at the moment. So we'll have a look at a few of those in the commodities video. Okay, so this is a situation here where we've got an entry here and an entry here. And this is a situation where we can also pull down deeper here before going up here. Now, I'm not sure. I mean, I don't like letting, you know, if I get a stop to break even, I'm happy to, you know, get taken out of that point. I don't like seeing it turn into red. So I don't know if we got any under this one here. No, we've been out. So yeah, I'm just going to bring that up to there. So we're just going to get stopped out on these. But if you wanted to write it out, then really you need to be sort of under this level here for this. But I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go there. That's not going to happen for me. So yeah, it's the same thing here as well. I could look at this as an A and a B wave here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the C wave of 2, and then look at this as 1 and 2 coming back here and then pushing up off there. So I should just bring that down under there, under that low at least. Yeah, so I can see what's going to happen. It's probably just do this here and then push up, but we'll find another way in. We'll get back in. I'd rather manage it rather manage it than do nothing and be exposed to it. So we can easily move back in. And Netflix here. So yeah, it's the same thing here as well. It's a little bit tricky here. I could put wave 4 here, or I need to put wave 4 over here. So some move down and then a move up at this point. So when we, oh, this is 100 ticks, yeah, so it's a little bit, so I just don't know if we come down first here. I mean, this is all of group 2, by the way, so 65, 72, and 80, so we don't have that 80 there as support just yet, so it could just push up a bit and then drop back here. So it should get sucked up to the 500 in due course, but we'll look for, I mean, this is corrective here, right? This is a corrective pattern. It's got overlapping structures in it, so it can, you know, easily push up higher. Yeah, it just could get a little bit more messy in here, that's all. We'll just see how the markets go over the next session, and then we'll take it from that point. Do we have any other trades on here? These guys. Okay, so yeah, so once again here, I'm just going to tighten the stop up. I expect this market higher, and we'll look at, maybe look at the bigger picture. We'll look at the bigger picture on this one. So we've got that bit of a spike there. So, you know, I mean, you could look at it in different ways. We could put the B wave over here. The B wave could still be playing out here based on that spike. It could play out as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up here and then come down here and then push up. I'm not quite sure in this case, but we're in this wave 4 business here. But let's just go and have a look at the bigger picture here for a moment. Oh, this is counted a little bit differently here. This one, it's not here nor there. I'll just go to the daily chart here. So, so we're still looking for this to push up here a bit higher, and then we'll have our ABC pattern here before pushing up again at this point. Microsoft's the same as well. So, you know, you could imagine coming up to these old highs here. It's not really the time to buy here. It's really the time to sell. So we're just looking at, you know, just managing our risk and seeing how much we can pull out of it. But yeah, you know, so Microsoft is slightly different because it's, you know, it started its run up much earlier than the others. One of the things here is that I could look at wave 4 here. I could also look at this as an A and a B and a C here for a B wave and a C wave down here for wave 4. So there's 2 ways to look at this. I'm not quite sure just yet. This is also group 2 here, 65, 72, and 80. So once we get support on top of the 80, we could look for a long trade there. But we need the first high above the level at this point. That's 1, 2, 3. That needs to go up a bit higher. So hopefully that will give us sort of 2 little highs above here somewhere. And then we can look at look at being long above here somewhere as this moves up higher. You'd need to be looking for something like that. Let's just have a look at the bigger picture here for a moment. So yeah, so this wave 4 can go in here with an A wave, a B wave, and a C. I don't think it's the case, so I'm just going to move it to the side a little bit. So once it's got support on top of the 80 here, or you got the first high above the level, you might not be able to understand the wave count, but you should be able to see like the first high above the level there. That just creates the long trade, and then it should just be sucked straight up. The 390 will give it a bit of grief, and but apart from that, it should be just sucked up to the 400. But yeah, there's other numbers in here too, but obviously that's got a 0 on the end, so it's going to be reasonably important. So, but I think this is quite a good little trade in its own little way, and yeah, so this is the bigger picture here, as you may know. But this run here started before most other markets. Most other markets started their run at this point. So Microsoft is is leading the way up in that AI situation. But yeah, so we're looking at this being, I mean, I could rearrange this as well, but yeah. Anyway, I mean, the thing is that this 400 here is going to be a bit of a doorstop for it, and we'll look for the setup at that point. But I mean, we're looking for most markets to top and turn back. You know, I mean, the NASDAQ, the S&P 500, and so on. You know, so we're just in the final sort of stages. But obviously, this has been a bit of a leader, so. It can push up here and then have some sort of ABC pattern. So it doesn't have to pull back to the 61.8%. You know, all of this space here is is good enough for that. I don't know the news that's going to make that happen, but I'm sure they'll find something. Yeah, so that's it in a way. I mean, the only other way this could be is that we could look at this wave 4 here as a smaller 1 and 2 and then continue to the upside. Either way, we're not going to miss it. It'll be easy to work with, but we're certainly in the later stages of this trend. I mean, this is pretty much the trend of the NASDAQ, really. You know, you can look at this you can count the NASDAQ like this in the bigger picture. And that would be logical and sensible and all those sorts of things. So definitely in a bull market, that really hasn't changed. I mean, we've always known this move down here was corrective in these the S&P and the NASDAQ and all the rest of it. It was just a matter of working through it and understanding that. I mean, obviously this correction could have gotten bigger as well. That was the other thing, you know. But we knew that it was corrective, so that was one saving grace, I guess. Okay, so Tesla. Yeah, look, just my initial problem with this is that I think that we can see this here as 1, 2 here and 3, 4, 5. I think we've got a bit more of a push up here, somewhere up here hitting supply, and then we need to come down because this move here is corrective as an A and a B and a C wave here. It's not that it's actually sort of taken that low out. So one could view it as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here in that case. That's quite possible. But it does, it does present a nice 5-wave structure down here. And we haven't seen that play out on the other side. So, yeah, I just think we need to be a little bit careful about this one. I don't think that we need to rush in here just yet. So if you're long in this, just be a little bit careful in this area here, which is obviously coming into the supply zone, these lows here, at the 240 here. So I mean, if I was going to go long here, then I would look for that 240, which is above the 61.8%, and I'd look for a classic trading levels pattern here. But I don't think it's kind of going to get there, really. It'll be something like that. This should, yeah, the whole length of this here should be something of this one over here, so that could be handy. I mean, just take that with a pinch of salt, you know. So, yeah, coming back down into, I mean, it can pull back to the 61.8%, but here's good too. So we need to capture it over here for the long trade. That's what we'll be looking for. Alrighty, that's it. So I'll just leave that at that. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.